I grew up very conservative Christian. I didn't drink till I was 22. I didn't have my first kiss until I was 26.
Oh my God.
26?
I was homeschooled 10 years.
And now you're a DJ. You left the church and became a DJ.
And I'm a DJ.
But they handed out little capsules at their reception.
Stop.
They said it was the most beautiful, coolest. There was so much love.
I love that.
And I was like, wait, like, I don't know
Oh
if I could
my
ever do
God.
something like that.
I don't know if I would do that. However, I love the idea.
I know. That's where I'm at. That's where I'm
Yeah.
at.
My aunt is having a panic attack in the bathroom.
Yeah.
She's freaking out.
Everyone's
Yeah.
so thirsty.
Yeah.
We're
Oh
out
my-
of water bottles.
Yeah.
Like, does anyone have more gum?
Yeah. All right, guys. Welcome back to the Saucy Sibs. More chaos in the closet. I'm your host, Francesca,
And I'm Nicodemus.
and we're your sauciest siblings. And we're here with one of our friends who we've been trying to do this for, I don't know, 2 years.
2 years. 2 solid Gregorian calendar years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So Meg Beatty, welcome.
So good to be here.
We
At long last.
I know.
Yeah, and we just gave her the full tour. She got like the whole lowdown on, the apartment. I'm like, this is where we lit it on fire.
Oh, you
This
told
is
her
where
that?
the mold was.
okay,
yeah.
That's where the 11 fire trucks were.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what we're known for. Chaos.
It is chaos. So welcome to the closet.
It's so good to be
Yeah.
here.
Mhm.
So you always go by Meg, right?
I recently rebranded.
Oh.
Because I went by Megan until like a couple years ago.
Right.
And then for the longest time, I was the only Megan in my company. But then
Yeah.
they started hiring other Megans,
Oh,
which first of all,
so rude.
rude.
Yeah.
Didn't ask for my consent for that. However, so I started rebranding to Meg just to make it easier. And then now it's easy and I love it. So
Yeah.
Okay.
here we are.
We have
Cool.
a friend that's Emily. But like when people call her Emily, I'm like, who the
Who was
I know.
that?
I'm like, she's M.
M.
But yeah, so Meg, how do you introduce yourself? Because what I would say is insanely successful DJ who like
Thanks.
also LOL before that has a huge like marketing career, but you do so much. So can you like give
Yeah.
us like the
It's
the
a
high
whole
level,
thing.
and-
I know.
yeah.
I've been working on my elevator pitch this year because it is
Okay,
like,
perfect.
who the fuck
Right.
am I? So it's like, what do you do? And I'm like, what time of the day are we referring to?
Yeah.
exactly?
Yeah, that's good.
So actually, like if I introduce myself in a corporate context,
hmm
Meg Beatty, head of growth.
Okay,
the growth.
out of growth.
If I introduce myself like in the nightlife scene, I actually but now just go by Maro
Maro.
because a lot of people have like that's what they know me. That's the only thing they know me by.
Maro.
So I've noticed, especially in the last 6 months, it started being confusing to be like, oh hi, I'm Meg. Sorry, who's that?
Yeah.
So I just go by Maro.
Maro.
No,
Which I
but
like that too.
if I end like in a tweet, it's like Savage Marketing Exec by day, Savage DJ by night.
Okay.
Ooh, okay, perfect.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
the name of the podcast.
Yeah.
And
I
is
do
it
like
still? It's still on Instagram, House of Maro,
Mhm.
right? Okay,
Mhm.
where'd that come from?
Well, I was like, well, I want something a little bit more, a little longer, a little more memorable than just Maro. / of course, it's 2024, so Maro is taken every, like just whatever one name is already taken.
Oh, all the 4 letters.
All the 4-letter
Yeah,
ones,
yeah,
like
yeah.
all, and I didn't want to add a bunch of like dots and under slashes,
Smart.
but I was like, I don't want
Yeah.
to, no. So then I was like, well, I love, at the time, this was before I also started playing techno, so I just mostly put house music. So it's
Mhm.
just a play on like, I play house music, Welcome to My House,
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
House of Maro.
House.
So kind of where it came from.
What's Maro?
I'm glad you asked.
Yeah.
I'm glad you
Yeah.
asked. So I was born in Japan.
Oh.
Yeah. My dad was in the Navy. So my parents lived there for 10 years. My mother's trilingual, which I didn't find out till I was 14. Mind you, I was homeschooled my whole life.
What?
So why did she not teach me any of these languages? Your guess is as good as mine. But I was born in Japan, and me and my brother I lived there for a few years and been back to visit multiple times.
Yeah.
Maro is a Japanese word. And I really resonated with it because it's neither masculine nor feminine.
Love that.
We love.
Yeah.
And it means myself. And I was like,
Oh.
I really love that because that's how I want to show. It's a good reminder just how I want to show up to DJ, like the purest essence of myself beyond any sort of idea of an identity I have or stereotype that I want to bring to the dance floor. Is just pure essence. And that's also how I want people to feel on my dance floors. It's like the most pure version of their soul.
Yeah.
No.
I love
that.
that.
Yeah.
Okay,
I've never wondered that actually. Like Maro.
I just thought,
Yeah.
like a take on Meg. I'm like so glad you asked because I was
Yeah.
like, maybe she'd be like, oh, it's just I had no idea. Okay, so
Myself.
I didn't even have like I wasn't gonna go like from the beginning, but now I feel like this like really informs like who you are. So were you Navy brat? I guess
Navy
traveling
brat. I was born in
Yeah.
Japan, lived in Seattle, moved to Escondido, moved to San Diego. Then my dad retired and we moved to Northern Colorado when I was in like, so I spent middle school and high school in Loveland, up in Northern Colorado. So, but the whole up until that point, just boop bopping around.
Bopping around,
And
huh?
what's your ethnicity?
I'm half Filipino on my
That's what I
mom's
thought.
side
Okay, yeah.
and English Irish on my dad's side.
English,
Cool.
Irish, languages.
Completely different. The clash of
Yeah.
those extended families was still is hilarious.
Hilarious.
Like,
Yeah.
But Filipinos are like kind of like Italians in the sense they're family, food.
Yes.
And it's like, you know,
Yeah.
when you meet like an Italian, of course, Italian American, but like, it's like, oh, like, did you know we're Italian? Like, we always
Yeah.
bring it up. And like, I know Filipinos are the
Totally.
same way in like a great way.
100%.
I love like little trivia questions, and I got this wrong, and I'm so upset at myself for it. But it was like, what's the only Christian nation in Asia? And I literally sat there and thought about it for like 20 minutes, and I was like, I know this. Like, I literally know this, and I couldn't. It's the Philippines.
The Philippines.
Yeah. Did you know
I
that?
didn't know that.
It's the only
No.
one. Yeah.
Because they were colonized by the Spanish. So it's almost all Catholic.
Okay.
I'm Christian now.
And the language is like mixed with Spanish.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
My middle name is De Los Santos, which is a Filipino name, but it's obviously Spanish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's
So, what languages does your mom speak that you didn't get to learn?
She's English, of
Yeah.
course. Tagalog, which is the Filipino language. She also she can't speak it, but she can understand Ilocano, which is my extended family's regional dialect in the
Cool.
Philippines.
okay.
And
Cool.
Japanese.
In Japanese.
Yeah. I didn't even know she could speak Japanese until we were visiting there when I was 15. It's like the second day in country, and she's just
Speaking
I was
Japanese. And you're like, I'm
excuse
sorry."
me? I'm so
Mom?
sorry?
Are you a spy?
I mean, but with that background, like her parents could
Yeah.
have been.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Do you speak Japanese at all? Little?
Not even a little bit. I mean,
Not
I
even a
can
little bit?
say like hello, thank you, good morning, and count to 10,
Yeah.
but that's about it.
Okay.
I can't even like, I can survive in Spanish and French. I can't even survive in Japanese.
I don't speak any Spanish, no French, and then I can like, I know like a little bit of Japanese, and then I can read kanji. So it's like, it's sometimes like if I'm looking at things, I can sort of know what like the sentence is about.
One of his degrees was Chinese.
What?
Oh, you didn't know this?
I didn't know
Okay,
that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But still, isn't Chinese and kanji like aren't those also very not same?
Okay. Yes.
Like how
But-
does that explain how you
Okay.
can read kanji?
So, okay. It's really confusing, actually. It's like, so Japanese, 3 different language systems
Right.
in one. It's katakana, hiragana, so 2 different alphabets, and then the kanji,
Right.
which is the Chinese characters. But then the Chinese characters in Japanese, a lot of the times they'll be like said differently, pronounced differently. But if they're used as like subjects of a sentence, they might mean the same thing because it's the same character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Most
the more
of the time.
you know.
I know. So like sometimes I was like be around Japan and I'd be like, actually I
get the
that's
gist of what's
electric
happening there.
bath or shower or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was like this weird thing. And then,
Love that for you.
I know. Thank you. It's a fun little skill.
That's
that
a
I have.
fun.
Yeah,
That's a
well,
really
like,
fun
yeah.
one.
I know. But and then my Chinese is really poor right now. I don't speak a lot of. I used to be like there's like a national level of Chinese. Like it's rated like 1 through 6, and you have to take a test to like be that number.
Right.
And I passed level 3, so I was HSK 3, which is pretty good.
That's
Pretty
like
good.
that's like absolute fluency. Like you're
No,
some level of fluent.
I every
Conversational, 'cause
every
he
day.
Like
lived
conversational
there.
fluent.
Like every day. But then what's weird about Chinese is like it's context it's
Oh,
lacking
yeah.
context.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like I don't know words that I don't know. So anything to do with like politics, trade, science, GDP, economics,
Right.
any of that, like anything slightly technical, I'm just like, So
I mean,
could,
but we don't know a lot of that in English either.
I know,
so.
like a lot of people don't. So
Right.
it's like I got around just fine. Like that conversation is not for me.
What?
Yeah.
I know.
What'd you say?
What was that?
You need another beer, anyone? Yeah. Wow, that's funny. Yeah, huh? I don't know.
I know. I'm like, I feel like we've been wanting to do this for so long that I'm just like, I have so much to
There's
ask
so
you
much ground
that I
to cover.
don't know
Where
where
we're
to
at.
start. Oh, we could just start at we just went through the Scorpio full moon.
Yeah.
And how are you feeling? How's life like right now?
Life right now is really good, which
Good.
feels really good because that's the first that's been a rare thing to be able to say the last 6 months. So it feels really good right now.
Good.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
like also I noticed I never have really been one to be like, I have seasonal depression. Wow, wow, wow. And I don't think I do. But every spring when it starts to get warm, I'm like, oh my God.
No,
Yeah.
I know.
I'm reborn.
It's like
Yeah.
not to be dramatic, but the sun on my face has
Yeah.
changed my life.
Like, actually.
No, I was going to tanning beds. That's one thing that they know. I started like 2 months ago. Not like a lot, like once a week, but I was like, I like need to do something.
It's so real.
Mhm.
So I'm like, the sun is shining. We just moved. I just started this new brain med in the past week. So I'm like, things are starting to fire again,
Ooh.
Wow.
What med?
which we love. It's called
Remind
VIP spray. It's a nasal spray. The very, very short version is like, you probably familiar with this, but
Yeah.
there was so much mold inflammation in my
Yeah.
brain that there was like 3 spots that had started to atrophy because it was inflamed so much, it started to atrophy.
Yeah.
And I had to progress to a certain level of recovery before I could start the brain meds, but I just got there.
Cool.
Yay.
And that helps like
Congratulations,
literally regrow the spots that have atrophied.
Atrophied. That's a really
Mhm.
crazy word.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah.
No, well, okay, let's just get into that then. Cause like when we had seen you, like 6 months ago or like 3 months ago, something like that, you were like, no, shit's been like bad. You were like, something like shit hit the fan. And cause you were just rocking and rolling, killing it. Cause you had just really started
Totally.
like traveling to New York City and doing all
Mhm.
this stuff with DJing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had just always, I was like, oh, Meg's probably just in another country doing her thing, blah, blah, blah. And then when I saw you, you were like, no, like I've been
Mm.
like,
Like
fucked.
fucked. Because
Yeah.
that was the thing. I was just like rock and rolling everything like up and to the right, you know? And then last summer, I started to be like, oh, I feel kind of tired. Like I'm a little fatigued. And literally for the first couple months, I was like, I just turned 30. Guess that's like,
Yeah.
that's aging.
Yeah.
God.
And then
Uh-huh.
I got to the point where I was like, no,
Something's off.
something's
yeah.
wrong. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
should
yeah.
not be sleeping 15 hours a night and struggling to stay awake and like struggling to remember things like this. Something's wrong.
Mhm.
And then last July, there was a week where I fainted. I found blood in my stool, TMI. I found a bald patch on the back of my head like this big, like bald.
What?
And I was like,
Yeah.
something's fucking wrong.
Yeah.
Like something is wrong. So I went to my doctor and she did some blood work and she was like, you're perfect.
Yeah.
That's what they always say.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Which for 24 hours, I was like, am I making this up? Like, am I crazy?
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, I'm not crazy.
Right.
So, because that was last week of July, which I already had planned for all of August to go to Australia for the World Cup and go to Burning Man.
Oh shit.
So I was like, should I travel? Like, she was like, you're perfect. Go have fun. We can pick this up when you're back. So had a great time, but was so exhausted. And then the burn, as you guys know, was so wet the last few days.
yeah.
And I was in a yurt with
Mhm.
rugs that had been to the burn
hundreds of
Mhm.
times.
God knows
Yeah.
how many times.
Yeah.
And I started, like, especially the second day as everything's damp and just like sitting,
Mhm.
I was like, it was the first time in my life I was like, I feel like I'm having a mental breakdown.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm looping. I like can't stop crying. Every breath feels like my respiratory system's on fire. Like my body's shutting down.
Wait, that's so wild. And like so like a lot of it was mold. I'm
It was all
assuming.
mold.
So
Because I found out when I came back that I had like mold poisoning. I was like, well, fuck. Oops.
no, what you're describing though, like you literally feel insane.
I feel possessed.
Because for me, it was like I had lived in a moldy place in college and it had sort of gotten bad. And then I think when I moved into New York City, my place must have been like filled with mold. But I would like sit at my desk and I thought I had dementia.
that's
and,
not what it felt like.
I like could not read a sentence. I couldn't
Mhm.
remember anything. And like my boss thought I was like a heroin addict because like some days would be good, some days would be really bad. But I moved back to St. Louis, Missouri, and like I got worse because it's so humid
It's
there.
so humid.
And then when we moved to Breckenridge, up so high,
Mhm.
I think like nothing can like live up at 10,000 feet, and it was so dry. I got almost like 90% better
Wow.
overnight. And that's like how we sort of figured out
Like, oh.
what it was. Cause it was like,
Totally.
it was like night and day. And I was like, okay, it's not like, I know
Yeah.
the mountains are healing,
Right.
but I was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And it can hit you like that. So at the time, like I've like gotten most of it out of my system, but when it's so rampant in your system,
Totally.
we went to, what was it? My birthday dinner in St. Louis one year.
Yeah, in like a super old wooden building.
Like
Oh my
damn,
God.
like
Mhm.
hundreds of year old type building.
No chance.
Yeah.
But it was like I was fine when I walked in. It's like my birthday. I'm crying at the table. It was almost like I think someone maybe think I had like autism, which not
Totally.
a bad thing, but it was like my parents would talk to me and I like I was like nonverbal.
Like couldn't function.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
like we were like, what the fuck? It's insane, but
Totally. And that's exactly
just
what it was. And I was
understand,
like,
yeah.
no, this isn't normal to go from like the function I was at to like this in the span of 9 months.
mm-hmm.
So that was all January, November, December, January, February, March was all like figuring out what was going on, starting a bunch of meds,
Oh.
cutting out gluten, sugar, and booze from my diet because like
Mhm.
high inflammation. That's not
Right.
helping. So I feel like it's been like dark night of the soul, but I'm like turning the corner,
Cool.
coming back out.
I love that.
So
Back at it.
But it sounds like you had good doctors that like pinpointed it.
Yeah.
Then you went on because it's not overnight. You just get a couple supplements
Mhm.
because sometimes all those like meds make you worse.
yep.
Before you're better, so that's scary. But it for you to like within 6 months though with like this kind of shit.
Oh my God.
That's actually kind of amazing.
It's kind of
'Cause
miraculous.
Sometimes people
Yeah.
it takes like 5 years to figure out what the fuck's wrong.
Well,
Yeah.
I find myself looking back on it, I'm like, wow, there's so many points where I just got so lucky because after that, I was like, well, need a new doctor. Like something's wrong. And if you're tapping out, then, and I had a friend who was recovering from mold in this last year. So I was like, able to like plug in with their doctors, which like way accelerated even figuring out what was wrong.
yeah.
And then have such a supportive partner, was able to take time off of work. Like, I was like, man, if I'm going to get chronically ill, this is best case scenario.
Right. How'd you
Yeah.
know that it was mold?
Well, I didn't at first.
Yeah.
I just knew something was wrong. I had enough of the same symptoms as my friend who got really sick from mold
Mm.
that I was like, you know what? Let me at least run some of these tests. Let me test my house for mold. Let me like do a full blood panel. Let me do a full genetics panel. And sure enough, it was like ping, 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 ping.
Mm.
So it's like a mycotoxin test.
Mhm.
There's
Yeah.
like I think, is it a blood test? I forget.
It was a bunch of different stuff. They tested
Yeah.
my like urine, hair, skin, blood, like a
Mm.
whole bunch of different things. My vision.
Balding, when you said you had a bald spot, that's a thing with mold. I followed this functional medicine doctor on Instagram. She started dating a guy who was like bald. You'd think male pattern baldness, like when like they
Mhm.
started dating, she treated him for mold poisoning. And like 6 months into their relationship, he had a full head of hair. Yeah, and so some people just think that that's, oh, I'm a man,
Right.
I'm getting older, whatever.
Right.
And it's like, no.
Which like
Mm.
hilariously, like, I guess it speaks to my vanity, but also good on the universe for knowing how to motivate me. Like, what was the tipping point that made me actually get serious and go to the doctor? Was it like having anxiety and depression for the first time in my life? No. Was it
Yeah.
being chronically fatigued and unable to work? No. Was it fainting? No. Was it losing my hair?
Mhm.
Like,
But now we freaked out the last time I saw you. I
it's
like
long enough.
remember 2 years ago your hair being short.
Oh yeah.
And
had, like,
when I
full
saw you,
pixie.
I was like, actually I said to Nick, I go, she has extensions, right? And he was like, I don't. And
I
I go,
was
I'm
like,
gonna
there's
ask
no
her.
way.
Yeah.
I was like, but that's not possible. So
I was like, I like to think that the rest of my hair like helpfully overcompensated. They were like,
Mhm.
we know you lost some.
Yeah,
we're
there
gonna
you go.
make it
Yeah.
up.
yeah. Did you get did it start growing back?
It started to grow
Okay,
back.
Yeah.
Now
Cool.
like the baby hairs are like 2.5 inches long.
nice.
Gosh.
So I lost a lot of hair when I got malaria, and it was like this whole dramatic
Oh my
thing. And then it was bad, but then I started it grew back. Once I was everything was fine.
I
So,
love that story.
I know, yeah. But I thought this is it. I'm thin, the molecules are
Follicles.
follicles
Follicles.
are destroyed
Follicles?
the follicles. But no, it came back. And then once I got my hair cut again, she was like, "Oh yeah, it's way back. It was twice as thick." And I was like, oh,
Thank God.
"Yeah,
Your hair's so thick.
yeah, thank you."
It's
Yeah.
so thick.
Mm-hmm.
No, your hair is like kind of your thing.
Yeah,
Thank
it is.
God.
And my brother, he's balding, and he was balding by my age. So I feel like I made a deal with God, and it's just hey, we're not balding.
My dad
Ever.
was completely white by my age. My grandmother on my mom's side still barely has 15
Yeah.
gray hairs. She's 97. So it's evening out, but I'm kind of sad about it because I would really love to have full head of like white hair.
Oh.
You would rock that. I could
Yeah.
see like Rogue from like
Yeah,
X-Men
oh my
vibes.
God. All of my 20s, I was like, come on, I hope we get the dad hair. Hope we get the dad hair.
Yeah.
No, have the mom hair.
Mm-hmm. Well,
But I made my
It's
peace.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta.
If we must.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to have the white hair, the gray hair too. I would rock that.
He
Like
wants to be like Gandalf.
Gandalf is kind of like what I'm going for, like
Yes.
Dumbledore Gandalf. Like I'm gonna have
Very
my
in.
Dilf phase, but like I'm going to
Very
like
in.
mysterious
Full
wizard.
wizard.
Like, oh, I know about that.
I'm very into this
Yeah.
with the robes and the staff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Mhm.
We
Wearing
keep going
only
to
white.
Burning Man.
Yeah.
It'll probably,
I know, I
it'll
know.
probably happen.
You're like, you look like Gandalf, and I'll just smile. Yeah.
I love it.
So you're healthy now, getting back.
I'm getting
at
back.
it.
Still
Cool.
nowhere near where I was, but on the way.
Interesting.
Mhm.
You know, when I had a really crazy leg injury, all of last year, and I saw a chiropractor and he fixed it, and it got better at Burning Man. Like it was like my psoas muscle was
God.
spasming, which is a really strange experience. And pretty much he fixed it, and it was like still like like on the way up and ready to go. But then once I got back from Burning Man, I was like, oh my God, it's 100% better. And I know it wasn't Burning Man, but like I just
But like, or was it?
I know, right? It really felt like that. Like I was limping before I went to Burning Man, and I got back about it. So yeah.
Correlation maybe is causation.
I know.
Yeah.
But wait, you're not going this year because you're
You're not?
getting
I don't
married.
think I'm going this year. I'm
instead.
getting married because the first half of this year has been so batshit, like health leave, moving, buying a house, getting married. The second half of the year, I'm probably like, I should probably like chill for a sec. But also
Yeah.
because if I went to the burn, especially this year, I historically have like held out. I'm doing this, but I think I'm just going to have to be in a trailer or RV. Mostly because all
Mhm.
those trucks packed during that damp strike have not been like cleaned or demolded.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I don't know that I'd be able to trust like much of the infrastructure.
We're using like a friend's shift pod, but it was probably used last year. I'm gonna have to like treat it. Luckily, vinegar helps with mold. and
Vinegar is
like,
the best. Yeah.
The big
The
thing at the
best.
burn, guys.
Burn.
So we'll see.
Vinegar.
I mean, is there a chance I just
Send
yeet in
it?
at the last second? Always. But right now, it's other than the Renegades during COVID, it'll be my first year off. So
Okay. How many times have you gone?
4.
4. Wow.
Hell yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Last year was our first year, and then we're going back this year.
You've got to.
Uh-huh.
It's magical.
Yeah. But it's funny about the mold at Burning Man because it's like literally the least moldy place I could think of.
Right.
And then like that's so funny. And what's Quincy actually, he brought like a whole rug, but it was so gross when we were cleaning it and getting everything ready to bring it to Burning Man. And they were like, "Oh no, it's gonna be moldy." And he was like, "Dude, Burning Man, like
It's true.
nothing can live in that."
It's true.
experience." But yeah.
So like
for
we're
last
fine,
year.
except if it rains.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Because then it can just like reignite and come back to life.
Then it's just
Yeah.
like
Huh.
alien landscape.
Wow.
Everything's flowering overnight.
Yeah. Oh,
Gosh.
Mycotoxins everywhere.
I know, man. That's so unfortunate.
But no, back to you being a Scorpio. Nick was saying earlier today when we were kind of like writing down what we wanted to ask you. He said that Scorpio is the sign of transformations. And just, he was like, I feel like Meg has like been a lot of like, has had so many like different transformations.
Oh my God.
You have so many different transformations and chapters.
Feeling
and
so seen.
haircuts. Yeah.
Feeling so seen.
Uh-huh.
It's so true. I mean, like if you had seen me 10 years ago, I
Yeah.
grew up very conservative Christian.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
that's-
didn't drink till I was 22. I didn't have my first kiss until I was 26.
Oh my God.
26?
I was homeschooled 10 years. I went to a
Wow.
small Christian conservative school of 5,000 students. Oh yeah.
Okay.
I like didn't like really like I trimmed my hair, but I didn't really cut or color my hair until I was 24.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah. Wait, okay. I knew a little bit of this, but I did
Oh,
not
yeah.
know it was that hardcore.
Yeah.
oh yeah, I was full send.
Yeah.
And then have this whole I have like such a completely developed corporate life. I've been in like marketing and tech for 10 years. I oversee sales and marketing, customer service for a huge global agency. It's like there's that whole realm. But most of my mid-20s, I was a huge deconstruction around my beliefs and my
Mhm.
faith. And in hindsight, I'm glad I had the presence of mind to let my hair be my outlet instead of most other things. So I was like pixie cut blonde hair. I had purple hair, I had green hair. I dyed it red multiple times. Like I've just had such a journey. But I love it. And I think that's one of the things I resonate with most about being a Scorpio is just like going fully into whatever the thing is and just like wrestling the new chapter out of it.
Have you heard the Lady Gaga song Hair?
I mean, I must have.
Oh my God,
But
dude.
Do you need to read the lyrics?
No, I'll recite them. I've had enough. This is my prayer that I'll keep living just as free as my hair. Because she was like,
literally my mantra.
Right. And it's so your mantra. And she was like in a lot of like conservative Catholic schools and she couldn't do anything besides fuck up her hair in like the most fun way. And she would be like, you know, I'm going to rock blonde highlights. So friends invite me to their parties. Like that's her whole thing. And what you just described is like that. She made a song about that.
That's literally it.
Yeah.
Like she was conservative Italian Catholic, like growing up.
Totally.
Private school in Manhattan.
Totally.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's been so many different versions of Meg.
Yeah.
So many different versions.
I love
like
it.
that.
Can you talk more on like your spirituality and stuff? Cause like I remember, cause we met through like, I feel like deep COVID, like secret Invisible City party days.
100%.
Yeah. Like early 2020.
Uh-huh.
And we just like immediately like kicked it off. I was like hurt. Like
Immediate.
I fucking love her.
Like they're my people.
But I had been following you and you had like, I remember you had an Instagram called Prodigal and Proud.
Oh yeah.
So that
was another big outlet.
Yeah. And so just talk about that and the kind of like the journey.
Totally. So I grew up really conservative Christian and I was full in as I tend to do. Right. Yeah. And so I was, you know, at church 3 or 4 times a week, like until 22. Like I was homeschooled and I went to a Christian college. I worked for a Christian summer camp for a couple summers, and then I worked for a Christian rafting company for a couple summers. So like quite literally until I graduated college and like went into marketing at 22, like my whole life was my faith. Quite literally. Yeah. Quite literally. Like my education experience, my employment experience, my family, my friends, like 100%. And when I was 22-ish, I finally started to wrestle with. There was 2 things for my theology nerds in the house. We're going to get a little technical. But there were 2 things that especially through high school and college had started to bother me more. But it wasn't until I was out of college that I really was like, all right, if I'm going to be staking my eternal life on this set of beliefs, like I really need to reconcile these things. And that was, what is really the deal with women in leadership? And what, if we're talking salvation, like how do I reconcile a loving God with no salvation for anyone who ever walked the earth before Jesus did?
Or anyone who's never even met him
right.
or heard about
right.
it. Yeah.
Exactly. As like, these aren't like casual, like things.
Yeah.
And the more it's like the thread on the sweater that I pulled and like everything else started to be like, oh wait, but what about this? Because if I'm going to question that, then what about this? And then what about this? And like, okay, if I'm wrestling with how the church treats women, and that's supposedly coming from what the Bible says about women. What about people of color? What about being a Filipino woman? And what about? And then it got to the point where I was like, well, not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
So, but then what? Because it was like, I mean, again, because my whole life infrastructure to that point was related to the church. So if I wasn't in that ecosystem, like, how do I spend my time? How do I meet people? I'm starting over all of my relationships from square one, unless there are people who have known me all the time through the church who are going to choose to like come with me on this non-faith journey. So that was a really hard couple years because it was really starting from square one in terms of like, what do I believe about my place in the world? What I believe about my worth as a woman, as a human being? What is my purpose here? What do I believe about the divine? Is there any way for me to still have a relationship with the divine? And what does spirituality even look like for me? And Prodigal and Proud, my second Finsta there for a couple years, which is now pretty defunct. But that was another way of just processing it, of like, man, I'm wrestling with this, or like, this doesn't make sense, or like, I'm hearing this, but it's so hypocritical because the church is also doing this over here.
Yeah.
So, which took off for a little bit. Had a little mini twirl as a theology influencer on the gram.
Oh, really?
But
I love it.
I mean, not really, but
Oh.
kind of.
No, for sure. I remember because you were like, I mean, I feel like anything that if you're putting out thoughts and there's people reading it and like they're responding and like I remember it like growing, you were like, okay, like this could be like a thing.
Totally.
That's like back in when I was like doing like gluten-free like stuff and it's like, okay, I don't use that anymore and I don't even like do that, but it's like, damn, I had this like whole
I had the
little
whole
community
like
for a while.
Totally.
Yeah.
So it's been a beautiful journey, and I think what I'm really appreciative now because I've reached, I think for a few years there, really understandably so, I was just so angry and felt so betrayed by the system of belief I grew up in. And it was really hard for me to like even scroll past religious content or like go to a church service with my family on like Easter or Christmas without getting like so charged.
Mm-hmm.
But now I've landed in a spot where it's just like I have a lot of compassion. I'm like, you know what? I'm never going to know the actual like heart or motivation behind any of these people. Blessings on your path. I feel really secure in what mine is. So,
Yeah. So what is sort of your just figuring it out? Do you have like because like when I was reading the Westward article written about you, which was so cool, but just that like you really identify now as like a deeply spiritual person, but not really Christian anymore.
No. And I, not my best timing in hindsight. I called my parents in May 2020. So like peak lockdown, George Floyd. And that's when I decided to tell them I wasn't Christian anymore. So
that's
a lot to wrestle
sorry,
with.
Mom.
Sorry.
At the time I was just like, I'm so committed to being in like honest relationship with my family. I'm going to tell them in like, not the most graceful, but I can't regret it. But I am a deeply spiritual person, and I really believe that there is, I mean, whatever you want. I don't think there's one right set of language. Call it the divine, call it magic, call it the what we don't know. But I think there is more to this world, and there are forces that are active and conspiring beyond the 3D human beings that we see walking the planet. And I think it is possible to be in more or less harmony with those forces. And like there are pieces of that are absolutely within my control to like in the ways that I cultivate the way I steward the earth and steward the relationships and just the openness in my being to be able to listen.
Yeah.
So.
And that right there is a very human experience. And I don't think that Christianity, that's inherently Christian.
100%.
And that's what like has always kind of bothered me with it. Like you said, like salvation only for people that like follow and repent to Jesus Christ and stuff. But it's like, if I feel like hope and spiritual and feel the connection to the divine, and that has nothing to do with like Christians, how are Christians saying like, that's ours?
100%.
We made that. Like what? No, you're just like, you can't like hijack human emotion and human experience into like a, And
I think it is a very human thing to try to like quantify and label and feel safe in doing so.
Yeah.
Like even in the Bible, there's hundreds of names for God. So I'm like, I think sometimes I'm like, all right, if Jesus was walking down the street and he met Francesca on the corner and was like, my name's had long hair down to his shoulders. My name's Jesus. I'm the one way to God. And Francesca's like, oh my God, this is it. He walks another block. He meets me. He has his hair in a ponytail. He says, I'm Yeshua. I'm the way to God. And I'm like, oh this is it. And then Francesca and I meet at a bar later and she's like, I have the answer. His name's Jesus. He has long hair. And I'm like, no, I have the answer. His name's Yeshua. He has short hair and it's up.
Yeah.
Like we get stuck in that argument for eternity and totally miss the point that we're both experiencing the same thing.
Right.
And I see a lot of humanity getting spun up in that of like, this is the practice. This is the name. And it's like, we're all going to the same river to get a drink of water.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of when these prophets or they were down here, I think a lot of what like religion has become is like not what they intended, like
so much so.
Yeah. And that's just wild to me. Like I don't know like where I am, and I'm just like always, I feel like definitely very spiritual, but just always like seeking truth and more and like seeking to understand and like if Christianity like is the one way, I'm like, I want to like know more and why I think that, and not just like it confuses me to like, let's say just like high level. Sorry, I'm trying to think of my words. Just like the Bible, people want to follow it to a T, but I'm like, there were so many other books of the Bible. There were so many other things. How can we just follow just these words and not the ones that were left out or the ones that were changed or this and that? And I'm like, that
Totally.
kind of blows my mind.
And also like a moment for understanding the political and privileged elite and over history and how that impacted the Bible. How about the fact that the word homosexuality wasn't in the Bible till the 70s?
Yeah. Okay. I could talk a lot about that one.
Yeah.
That's just curious timing.
Curious timing.
Curious.
That word homosexual didn't even
Interesting.
exist until 1890.
Interesting.
So tell me what the word for it was in Aramaic. Man,
Pellegrino
I-
as you guys.
I love it.
there's so many different political bodies and agendas behind the 2,000 years of it all. Absolutely. And I get that. And I'm not trying to like say that, that means it's all bullshit, throw it out. Like, no. I don't think
100%.
none of us are saying that. But like,
Yeah.
I just do think like that's why it's good to learn from all the different aspects. But am I going to base my life around it and to the absolute of every way that I live my life? Like, no, I find that intellectually like a wrong choice,
100%. And also the humility of even just admitting, as accurate as the most incredible scholars can translate, there are things inherently lost in the translation, even like especially from something like Aramaic.
Yeah.
Like that language doesn't even constructed in the same way
Yeah.
as English.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think we've talked about this on the podcast before, but you'd be interested in this. They made us in like my Catholic high school write exegeticals. So it's a 20-page paper. Oh, you know what it is?
I have a minor in theology.
Okay.
So
But like as like a sophomore in high school,
my
they just
God.
take one verse and have to write 20 pages on it. It like blows your mind of like, oh, like all like how much like culturally and this and the Dead Sea Scrolls and reference it with that and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I mean, you could write easily more than 20 pages on just one verse.
Easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
And then people are taking that, like the King James version, of like just as like fact.
I
King
can't.
James?
Yeah. I'm like, we can't.
One of the most problematic people ever.
I can't.
Yeah.
No. So and that's to your point, like when I don't identify as Christian anymore. And a huge part of that is in identifying with the church, because I think I actually, in a lot of ways, think my values and the way I steward my life are more aligned with the actual tenets found in holy scriptures, regardless of faith system now. But so much of it, in my ever so not so humble opinion, has been so bastardized by organized religion that I got to the point where I was like, wow, I really feel convicted that the most true thing I can do if I want to walk with spirit is not align myself with a lot of these organized bodies of religion. Like it's not.
It's kind of like the religious paradox. I mean, like the Buddha literally was like, don't build statues of me and worship me. What the fuck did they do? And still do. Yeah. Like, oh,
oopsie.
And then like, the Vatican being like the largest conglomeration of wealth ever. It's just kind of like,
how do they reconcile that? Like,
no,
I
how
really
do
just
they? Like they don't.
Yeah.
That's exactly where I was like, I can't reconcile this. Like this is not the what living these values should look like at all.
And the big thing with like what like really kills me when people say like community, it's like, okay, religion's nice whether it's true or not because it gives you like, community.
It's community.
Until you disagree. And then you're a fucking, what's the word? Like a heretic,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because it's like, or heretic. So it's like, man, now I'm an enemy of this community because I just said I disagree because they feel betrayed that I like left them. And I'm like, well, hold up. You know what I mean? Like my running club wouldn't make me an enemy of them because I didn't want to be part of the running club anymore or because I missed a few runs.
Truly.
That seems a bit weird to me. But
truly.
Yeah.
Or like the fact that I backpack a lot on the weekends because I find God just as much in the wilderness as I ever did in a building. And like, that's not kosher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Respectfully.
Respectfully. Because it's like, I also feel like and even in Catholicism, I would, for a long time, I was like crazy about being a vegetarian and everything like that. I had an issue with like slaughterhouses in like the Christian lens And I asked a priest about that once, and he was like, well, there's this thing called natural law in Catholicism where you like really look at like, okay, we can eat and digest meat and like whatever. So that is something that we can know that it like works. But I was kind of like, okay, then why can't I go like worship God on a mountaintop instead of going to church or mass, you know? So isn't that more natural? I don't know. Wouldn't that be just as, I don't know.
Totally.
And now you're a DJ. You left the church and became a DJ.
And now I'm a DJ. And now I'm a DJ. So it was the first like electronic show I ever went to was Kygo Red Rocks 2018.
Love.
Wait, like your first
time
show
forever. It's like peak summer.
Wow, only 6 years ago.
Oh yeah, only 6 years ago. And like just peak summertime experience, like warm.
Yeah.
Kygo's like, you know, tropical house. It's just like floaty and happy. I was like, oh my God. And then a couple weeks later, I went to Odessa.
Oh, well.
Wait, in 2018?
2018.
I was there.
At Red Rocks?
I drove up from Albuquerque.
Or maybe it was Odessa first and then Kygo. I can never remember. But that summer in those two shows, I was like,
yeah.
Got it.
Okay.
My first time at a really big EDM show, I went to Tomorrow World when it was in Atlanta. Not Tomorrowland in Belgium, but...
Wait, your first EDM show was Tomorrow World?
I had like been to some... What?
I'm pretty sure it was Bass Nectar in 2008.
Probably.
Right?
Yeah, but no, I'm saying like when like music like changed me.
Yeah.
Like I was at Tomorrow World. I had done a little MDMA and I was like, oh. I was like I just felt like I had like touched the divine.
No, actually.
For the first time. Really. And I was just like, holy shit. I was like, I will never be the same person.
Literally. Because
like,
Kygo was my first time ever on mushrooms. And the Odessa show was my first time ever on Molly.
He's whispering in the closet.
Yeah.
It's okay here on the Saucy Sips.
Like, thank God.
Molly,
Molly and watch my 18-year-old sister watch this.
Yeah.
Hey, Joe.
Joe.
Make good choices. My 18-year-old sister.
Yeah. No, really. No floor drugs.
So it was changed my life, which is the most cliche thing to say.
I don't think so.
But
I mean, sure, it's a cliche,
but not if you've like felt that. Like
oh my God.
I'm coming from like depression and this and that. And it was more like I had made this group of friends, new friends, like some are from New York, some are from California. And we were like camped together, but we had just met them for the first time. And I mean, like they're still my friends today.
Totally.
And it was like, I remember when I tried to explain to my parents my first like MDMA experience. And I was like, no, like all the bullshit of who you are is like gone and you just like see this person as another person. I'm like, sure, like after that, like you might not want to, you know, I'm sure you can do Molly at like an afters with someone who might not be a great person. And like, you can be like, wow, they were just so wonderful. And you can wake up and be like, I might not want to associate with them or something. That's because it does drop it, but I feel like everyone is divine. So you still saw them.
Totally.
But then I feel like also you can become absolute lifelong best friends with them, closer than anyone you've ever had in your life, in a span of like 20 minutes.
Literally. Like some of my best friends to this day I met on dance floors. My fiance I met on a dance floor.
Oh,
like,
really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I love that.
I actually also met him on an underground dance floor the summer of COVID. So that summer really did me right.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
My first like musical experience was life-changing, but I was in 6th grade. And my parents, they let me go to this like, it's called Point Fest in St. Louis. It's like very, like,
my
like
gosh.
hard rock, you know? And
It's like the Warped Tour of rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was in 6th grade, and then I literally crowd surfed at Bullet for my Valentine because I was in 6th grade. Crowd surfed, and they threw me up, and then they like dumped me into the pit, and this guy like punched me in the face. Like punched me in the face, and I was dragged out by like in my eyes just like
some angel.
Yeah,
like,
but in my age they're like demons because it's like because I'm like in 6th grade and everyone's so big and they have like dreadlocks and like tattoos and I'm just like. Argh. And then the headliner
Bullet to my Valentine.
Oh my
that
God.
song those songs hit differently. I only know their hits honestly, but. And then the headliner was Avenged Sevenfold and the Killers.
Oh,
and I was kind of like. All right, everyone. I think I know what I'm doing for the rest of my life. I
think I got it.
It was so good.
That's so good.
Yeah, and at such a young age too. I was like, I really love like music. I think it's good for kids. Like, I don't think we should bring like children to music festivals, but like maybe middle schoolers can go to concerts, you know, with
totally
whatever. But
ear protection. That's my only
totally.
ask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my only ask.
Yeah.
I feel like we were very lucky. We grew up like in a very music
Mhm.
household.
Yeah.
Very
So
cool.
like even through, because our parents are very like conservative Christian as well, but like they're really young
Yeah.
too. Like they had me at 20. So like,
wow.
yeah. And so they had 3 kids by 25. Mm-hmm. So like
Yeah.
I just feel like we kind of
My
got
30-year-old ovaries are shrinking at
Shrinking.
that. Ooh.
Oh, man.
like, yeah. No, dude, I'm 34. And I'm
Ooh.
like, I'd always said I want to be a young mom like my mom because I loved that like we got to grow up with all their friends.
That
and
is
going to the
true.
parties
And then like your kids are out of the house and you can like go
Yeah.
enjoy life with them.
no, really,
Yeah.
we were all in college by the time they were like 40.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they just like
Right.
went and, like they got to travel and do whatever because they're like,
So cool.
so speaking of ovaries, not that I want to wait this long to have children, but women who have children at the age of 40 or like at the age of 40, like late, you're 4 times more likely to make it to 100. 4 times. Isn't that wild?
What?
Yeah.
Well, I'm really glad to hear like there's a positive because all that I've ever heard about having kids after 35 is like geriatric pregnancy, high risk. Wah, wah, wah. So I'm so glad to hear there's a longevity plus.
I feel like I've heard these things too, but I'm just kind of like existing in a world where like we're changing, you know,
Yeah.
where
I
like,
choose to exist in the coming reality.
Exactly. And people are going to be having kids at like 40 and stuff.
I
so
follow
you're
some
fine.
like some hippie like home birth type like moms
Mhm.
on Instagram that have
Yeah.
like really like kind of helped me just like I'm not worried about it.
Right.
But like they like naturally got pregnant at like 40 and 42 or like have had multiple kids. They're so healthy, doing so well, like and everything's good. I think it's just like if you're healthy, like
Totally.
these people like kind of like live on their own farms and eat all their own food, which I feel like us in
Yeah.
this industrial world is harder. But I really do think it's like we've just been told that it's so hard, but I really think it's more of like the lifestyles of people
Totally.
in
I
America.
think that's so true. I mean, my mom had my youngest sister at 40.
Okay.
And she's like, my mom's such a savage.
Yeah.
She's like rocking and rolling. She's
Yeah.
like, she literally travels internationally at least 1 week a month for her job. Like, it's just
Really?
like,
No
I'm like, oh
way.
yeah, my mom's a beast.
You should tell
Yeah.
her that stat and be like, oh, you're obviously making it to 100.
We were obviously making it to 100.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm sure it's because it like keeps you younger and
Totally.
you're still because I feel like once you slow down is when you start declining. So if you
I am a strong believer in that.
Uh,
You just got to
totally,
keep the
totally,
wheels
totally.
turning.
Yeah.
Don't give them a chance to fall apart.
Exactly.
Actually.
Yeah. That is so. I met this 80-year-old woman the other day. She told me that she goes weightlifting 3 times a week. She's learning how to play the guitar, and she is in college classes, like community
epic.
college classes,
Love
just for
that.
fun. I thought she was 65. She was 80.
That's so wild.
Yeah, that's so impressive.
I know. That's why I've always said that, like, you know, with the Gandalf thing, I've always said that I was going to be 103, but I think I'm bumping that number up to
Bump it
106
up.
now. 106.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bump it up. That's why I always try to learn something new every couple, like learn a new skill every
Yeah.
couple years
Mhm.
because like that is like just such a like great part of my brain to keep alive.
Mhm.
Like actually learning and
Yeah.
developing. Something
They say
new.
language is really good for that too.
Yeah,
So
totally.
Japanese.
It's time.
Yeah, just start learning.
Do
Yeah.
It's
it.
time.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever heard of Pimsleur? I tell everyone about it.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
so I dated a French guy who didn't speak English, and I like had to learn French in 6 months. And it's 30-minute audio lessons a day, and that's it. So if on your walk or your commute to work, it's very like conversational, like you
Yeah.
talk back to it out loud. But you don't have to learn like any of the other like bullshit that you wouldn't use. It just teaches you like how to get around. And then you never
That's great.
you pronounce
Yeah.
it right because you're not like reading it. Like I can't read French actually,
Mhm.
but I can like speak it conversationally pretty well. And that's all you need.
See, I'm just the opposite because I took French in high school and college, so I can read and write like pretty well. But
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
I'm so much more stilted.
Yeah.
I'm like, and also I'm like, again in English I don't even know. Like you asked me like what the future subjunctive. I'm like I don't
No one
You
knows
don't need to
that.
know
Yeah.
that you learned
I don't know.
auditorily as
Right.
a kid. So Pimsleur is like how you naturally would learn a language.
I love it. I'm
Mhm.
enrolled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Mhm.
She's DJ. She's Japanese.
Yeah.
That'll be the follow-up podcast.
Nihongo ga skoshi wakarimasu. That means I
Hi.
understand Japanese a little bit. Hi. Yeah, I've done the like 30 lessons of the Japanese Pimsleur. It works really well. Like when I was in Japan, like just speaking the few
Right.
phrases just to get around, it was like people were like, "Oh, that was pretty good." I was like,
That's the thing too.
Yeah.
If you're just like traveling, meeting people, you don't need to know technical language. Like you can reach that level of fluency like pretty fast.
Truly.
Totally.
It's not that hard.
It really isn't.
You literally need to be like, which way am I going? How much is this? Can I have a coffee? Can I have a beer?
Right.
Like, where's the bathroom?
You have to
Fine.
suffer
Done.
a little bit, but the more you suffer, like
You
the
do.
faster you learn it, you know? Yeah.
And I just have so few fucks at this point in my life for like looking like a weirdo, like stumbling through pronunciation. I'm just like, well, I'm going to try it.
Yeah.
Isn't that the
And-
best thing about getting older?
Oh my God.
What?
Just giving fewer fucks.
Oh, yeah.
It is like truly like when something that would like kill you inside and like be embarrassed to do, you're just like, who cares?
I remember the first time I ever went backpacking. This was senior year in high
Cool.
school. It was with my youth group because of course.
Youth group.
Youth group. No one told me what to pack, so I brought full size shampoo and conditioner bottles.
Oh no.
12 miles into the backcountry
Wow.
with a full sized bathroom towel.
Mm. Damn.
Let's not even think about the environmental impact of that shit going into alpine lakes.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mother Earth, but that's not the point of the story.
Yeah.
We went like lake jumping
Mm-hmm.
on the last day, and I remember I was wearing a sports bra and a t-shirt on top of it. And still, it's an alpine lake. It's approximately 0 degrees. So like I just get shatter nip immediately.
Yeah.
And
It's
and
your
I
first
was
thought.
so self-conscious and so uncomfortable. I literally was like covering myself, keeping myself submerged in this
Mhm.
cold water because I was just so ashamed to let my nipples would show through my shirt.
Mhm.
And now I like never wear bras.
Yeah.
I literally don't own a bra. And I'm
you
just
don't own one?
I literally do not. I have one sports bra.
you
That's
said
great.
nope. Yeah.
And then
No,
I have, like-
can't do that.
Some lingerie sets.
yeah. Yeah.
Mine are like a little too big. I gain weight in my
But-
boobs. So when I'm fit, they're A's. If I'm right now, I have like more weight on my body and they get like kind of big to where like I'll wear my other stuff.
They're
and, like,
epic.
No, they're out now. I wore this like working the other night, like bartending. Someone went up to Nick and said, "You didn't tell me your sister had bazongas." What was the word?
Like-
you repeated it to me, and I was
like,
like, "I'm sorry." What?
I don't know. My gay brain doesn't even know what word it was. It was something where I like
That's
gasped.
horrific.
I was like,
Also, why? Why to the
Yeah.
brother? It's so people.
it's so
How
weird.
often people mention
No.
my tits to you? It's
I-
fucking
yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
That's
and
so
Nick's
I'm
like-
embarrassed on their behalf.
Bazookas?
Yeah, bazongas. I think is what because you
Oh my
told me
God.
right after.
Oh
and I
my
was like-
god. Yeah.
I was like literally behind the bar. Like I guess we're.
yeah.
I guess we're zipping it up
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That same guy came up to you later that night. He was like, "Francesca, you look delicious," and I was like, "Delicious." Like I fucking. You were
I'm not a ring pop.
I know. Literally.
God,
I'm like,
stop.
oh my god, these are just words I don't like. I've never heard that word used like that. Like, my god. Oh, Francesca's going backpacking. Well, we're going backpacking.
Yeah.
It's her first
My first
backpacking
time.
trip.
Yeah.
We're going in the Pecos mountain range of Santa Fe.
Incredible.
Yeah, with
with
our-
our Burning Man camp lead.
Mhm.
So shout out Jesse in Canada.
Mhm.
Jesse in
Excited.
Canada.
Jesse in Canada.
Yeah.
And
That's amazing.
yeah, it's a really. I've done like part of it. I actually,
How many days are we going?
I think just one
Okay.
night,
Okay.
and then which is good.
Love it.
Easy. But I actually tried to get to this lake that we're going, which I think that they're gonna do. He named a few that we might, but there's a lake called Lake Catherine, and I tried to go there, and I got caught in the most horrific, treacherous hailstorm I'd ever seen. in my
Oh,
life.
been
Yeah.
there.
And it was.
What
There's
do you
nothing
do?
to do.
You
just-
you put your backpack over your head, and then you get down, but then the temperature drops crazy, and then there's ice everywhere, and I was in Chacos.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was like holy hell.
Do I
Mhm.
need hiking boots?
Yeah.
Oh, well, we should.
You can do it in Chacos, but
Yeah.
if something like that happens, then
Yeah.
yeah, then it's kind of bad. But
Oh, I
gonna
cannot
be
wait for
in
this for you guys.
yeah,
Yeah. No,
we're-
I
we're
like.
gonna vlog it.
I'm obsessed.
Bring the tripod.
I've never been invited on like the backpacking trips. Like I'm outdoorsy ish. What's that thing? It's like one of those like mom millennial like quotes. Like I'm outdoorsy and that I like to get drunk on patios. I'm more
Yeah.
a little bit more outdoorsy than that.
Yeah,
No, it should be fun.
yeah. I think it's gonna be a good. They're so fun, and you really like learn a lot. Self.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I can give you one unsolicited tip,
Yes.
if you haven't done already, highly worth every penny to buy like a $10, $15 inflatable camp pillow. on Amazon
Oh.
because that shit changes the sleep game
Oh.
insanely.
I would have
Yeah.
never even thought about
Oh,
that.
yeah. And like you
Okay.
just deflate it, packs down like the size
Yeah.
of my
Oh,
fist.
yeah.
You can just stick it in. But like having a
Mhm.
pillow versus not.
Yeah.
Oh, because
my
I
God.
won't have my air.
Mm-mm. They're sleeping on a pad.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
We might need some gear.
We are definitely gonna do an inventory. You know what I just found out
Tell me.
about that? The pillow was invented to keep your head off the ground from like insects and stuff, not for comfort.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Because like the first pillows would have been like stone.
Well, okay,
and
that's the
rocks
thing.
and
So I go to
stuff, and-
museums,
Mm-hmm.
right? And by that I mean I haven't been to a museum in a while, but I have gone. And the first pillows are like wood and stone neck supports.
Yeah.
I'm like, how did it take humanity so long to like throw a hide over some pine needles? Like what?
Like they just like weren't. Yeah.
Because it was for like if they didn't need it at the time. Because comfort is like way later. Pillows.
That's true. Our privilege is showing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, we're just like comfortable all the time.
All
Yeah.
the time.
That's why
yeah.
we're trying
Or
to
I'm
like shock ourselves with cold plunges and shit,
Right.
which
I
you're
know.
doing right after this because like our bodies like want that. They want some
Literally.
shock.
Yeah.
Literally.
They want discomfort, which is like kind of fascinating to me that we need to like go hungry and be cold and be hot and
Right.
you
Yeah,
know.
everyone's over here like we're fasting. We're biohacking. It's
Like
just not eating.
Yeah.
I'm
like,
already
one meal.
rolling over in my grave, imagining like my ancestors time traveling to see us. Like I'm
Mhm.
so ashamed. Like I
I
go
know.
out of my way to like not eat, be super hot, be super cold. Like
yeah,
I'm sorry, great
I
grandma.
know. It is really crazy. And I was just gonna say something else with that. Like yeah, just our image is like so much more important than like our safety, which is kind of crazy. Yeah. That they was just never really no.
It's so
Understand
true.
that.
Yeah. Mm.
Or
But you
just
know-
the anxiety and depression thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that would just really blow their minds. Like if they looked at
Totally.
our world today, like what do we have to be upset about? But it's a real fucking thing.
It's
Yeah.
a real
But
fucking
it's-
thing.
Uh-huh.
We
We're
took
back.
a little potty break, guys.
We're
and
back.
then we were talking about like, oh, we'll probably do like 30 minutes. And we cut it down. Nick was like, or if we get our guests too drunk, which is like a thing that we accidentally do all the time.
I know.
Well, I think like people get nervous and they're excited.
Totally.
And then we're excited.
And then all of a
like,
sudden it's 4 drinks later.
which is a lot on camera. You ever watched yourself get drunk like
God.
on video because it's terrifying. But okay, so wait, you're not drinking.
I'm not
I didn't
drinking.
think so, but it's been a while, right?
Right. So over the holidays, we decided to do No Booze 2024. Partly because I was like, I low key should / have to anyway because of
Mhm.
the whole brain inflammation situation. But also we were like, it could be time for a break.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like disordered in my relation with alcohol, but my yellow flag is when it starts getting hard to think of fun things to do
Yeah.
that aren't
Yeah,
around
yeah.
drinking.
Truly.
That's my yellow flag to be like, oh, wait, I need to like recalibrate. So no booze. But I did, we are making an exception for our wedding honeymoon,
yeah.
booze break. And I drank for our wedding tasting because I was
Oh.
like, I have to know what wines to pick,
No, legitimately.
actually. And then those were planned. And the only the break that I actually had was 3 weeks ago because I got some bad health news. And I was like, I need to cope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So not my finest. But other than that,
Yeah.
we've been strong.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
fun, right?
It is. And I'm like, oh right. Like it feels good to feel myself getting back to the point where I notice when I want to drink and actually enjoy something versus like ordering just as a default.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And then yeah.
It was time.
And it can snowball into the ordering thing, and where it's just like
Totally.
money, and it's like I don't even know why I'm getting another drink, but like here we are for
But
sure.
you've already had 4 and you're like, what's another Tito's soda? But then you're like, but look, why?
Yeah.
I was watching, did I say this about this? I follow this drinking coach on like TikTok. Her thing is she like helps like women cut down on their drinking by like 90% just to like reframe it. And one of the mantras that she gives them is another drink will ruin my buzz.
Love that.
I was
That's
like,
good.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so how she
Yeah.
kind of like teaches her clients, like, you don't want to have to like of course, if you have a problem and need to stop, like cut it out.
That's
And
actually,
to be
that's
honest,
really good. I love that.
and life will be better. But she was like, she helps people like cut down so much because like, she's like, okay, you can have like 2 drinks and then you have a buzz and that's the best you're ever going to feel. She's like, after 2 hours when that buzz wears off, you can just ride the wave again.
I know.
So another drink will ruin my buzz. It's like,
That's so smart.
wow. I
And
was
goes
like,
for
I
so
love
many
that.
substances beyond alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah. You always
So
think a
many.
little bit will be
It's
better.
like get it to right where everything's great and then just cruise on it.
Yeah.
yeah.
You try to like get more to keep it. No, wrong move.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone needs to hold your hand on a couch. Like,
I was actually just on a bachelorette party. It was a camping trip. I
Of
was
course
the
you
only
were.
man.
mhm,
Me and 20 girls out in Moab.
literally.
And I was like, another drink will ruin my buzz because they brought out like the vodka and everyone was like doing it. I took
Wee.
1 shot of vodka, but I was just kind of like, I'm feeling great. I'm having so much fun.
Great.
And like I saw a few people like tip in.
Tip
and
over.
then even other people were like, you know what I mean? And I was like, oh. And so I was just like, you know what? I'm so good right now. And I passed the bottle.
Wow.
I know.
He's a wellness
I know,
influencer.
you know?
Yeah.
So, but I thought about that. I was like, another drink will ruin buzz. And it wasn't like what I guess is what was profound to me was like, it wasn't that I was trying to not get drunk. It was
Right.
like, I'm thinking about how much fun I am.
Well, that's
drunk
what
right
I think
now.
is so powerful is like it like helps change the habit from like a positive standpoint versus this
Mhm.
like
Totally.
I'm trying to not.
Yeah.
hmm
Love that.
I know.
Yeah.
Fun.
It's like kind of it like is kind of catchy. It like sticks, and I like
yeah.
I've been like catching myself saying it. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Why would I ruin my buzz right now? That's
Yeah.
fucking stupid.
Plus, it's 2024. Like, there's so many like fucking tonics and CBD
Yeah.
drinks and like
Mhm.
tinctures, whatever. You know, it's so easy.
So with that, in DJing, I've heard you talk about partying and having fun and getting wild and loose, but in a safe way.
Mm,
Do you want to speak on that? And
I love that. Favorite question.
okay.
So, I feel really strongly about this, and it's something I saw.
Huzzah.
Gus,
Little
Gus
podcast
on the
dog.
pod. It's something I feel really strongly about, and I think my take on this is that the safest dance floors happen when the people on those dance floors feel safe and empowered in their bodies.
Mhm.
Like, because that's how we create safety with each other, is feeling safety within ourselves,
Yeah.
right? So that's what I try to foster with DJing is spaces where every individual person having their own experience feels that moment of like, oh, I can just take a breath. I can move my body the way I want to, the way it wants to. I can get curious about how it wants to move. And if every single person on the dance floor is doing that, that creates a ton of safety for
Yeah.
everyone. And that space, at least in my experience, like the more I feel that within my being, the more I'm apt to celebrate other people doing that.
Yeah.
The more I notice like when some of my behavior is getting in someone else's space or vice versa. So I think it comes from a ton of self-accountability and creating safety for ourselves. And I think that is something to a degree we can only do for ourselves because like, here's the reality, like we can create safer spaces, but there is not a space that exists on a dance floor that is 100% safe.
Yeah.
I don't think there can be,
Mm-hmm.
but we can be safer spaces.
Yeah.
And the safer that people are within themselves and the more they're committed to creating that for each other, the safer the space can be.
Mm-hmm. I really love that. Are there things that you do to like encourage that?
I've played with a lot of different things. When I first started DJing, I used to get on the mic when I started my set. I still sometimes do, to just cue like, this is my invitation. And as much as you're willing to be down, here's the rules that I'd like for us all to play by. It's like respect yourself, respect each other, notice for consent, be here, be present. As I've gotten more into DJing, I've like challenged myself to see how much of that can I create with the music
Yeah.
Cool.
itself.
Because I feel like a lot of people feel like EDM music is almost inherently unsafe,
Totally.
which I totally disagree with.
I totally
but, like,
disagree with.
Yeah.
So I challenge myself to like, because words, like anytime I speak, that is an interaction between my brain and mouth and your brain, right?
Mhm.
Like that is communication from here to there.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm actually getting at is to create that here, like in our bodies. Like that's the whole point. So I was challenged myself to create that with music. I'm like, okay, if And like part of this is like chakra infused. I'm like, all right, safety is root. Safety is grounding. Safety is feeling solidity and held in the space. So like, do we need to like drop down? Do we need a little bit more of a drop? Do we need a baseline? Do we need to like create cohesion on the dance floor before we like take off? So it's been really cool. And also it's also just like, I feel really lucky to have like incredible friends and fans and like an incredible partner, because it doesn't take a lot of people bought into this to create that experience for the whole dance floor. Like even if it's just 5 or 10 people who are like creating that norm, that can spread, and that becomes the like experience for the night. So that's a huge thing too. Is it's like it's partly the way I DJ, partly the music I select, and also a big part of this is like how seriously I take the energy I show up in when I DJ. Because that even before I was a DJ as a dancer, I was like, man, the DJ can just affect so much of the night. Partly the music they're playing, but also partly just their vibe. As a person. Like if they're like, you know, just like not connecting with the crowd and like not really dancing, kind of feel like that's going to translate, you know? So I take really seriously the energy I show up in. I'm like, my pre-show ritual, I'm like breathing, I'm grounded, I'm connecting back to like, what am I actually trying to do here? What do I want people to like leave this night with? And that's the experience that I commit to having behind the decks. Like, and you see me DJ, I am like in it.
You are so
in it. I think I took a story of you and I tagged you the other day. I was like, damn, the concentration. I was like, but you're still like present, like with your people. But
totally.
Sometimes, I mean, you're in it.
Because I'm like, I am so present. I am so here. It's like the phone is away. Everything else is mentally on the shelf. It's just like, boom, trance mode. So
one of the most fun we've ever had dancing was the first. We found out it was your first show you would ever play.
My first show.
We came down from Breckenridge. Was it Bar Standard?
No, it was Black Box.
Black Box.
Oh, shout out Black Box.
Black Box.
Yeah.
We drove down. I don't. Did we come down for that show? Possibly. I don't remember.
2 years,
but like it was outrageous. Like, I mean, just so much fun. I could not believe that was your first show.
We had our shirts off. Well, I had my shirt.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the men had their shirts off and stuff like that. But
my preference.
Yeah.
Like, clothing just gets in the way.
Well, and I also didn't know that you played so heavy, like in like techno, and I was kind of like, oh, which I love. You know what I mean? Like, I don't always listen to it. You know what I mean? I don't always go to those types of shows and stuff like that. But when I like it, I really do like it. We just had the best time that night.
Yeah.
That was such a special night. I learned to DJ like 6 months prior.
Really?
And like the summer before, I DJed like a couple like private events. And then 2 months before that, the first time I DJed out, I was in New York. And then that night was the first time I ever played in Denver, in Colorado.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Such a special night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any like really big shows coming up?
Okay. So the slew of shows that I have coming up, which is just about to drop
slew.
this weekend.
Ooh.
House of Maro on Instagram. Is my
tag all your
favorite.
things.
Amazing. Is my favorite slate of shows I maybe have ever played.
Oh.
It's going to be so good.
Okay.
So, which I also like feels uniquely exciting because the past 6 months I've been DJing like the least I've ever DJed because of the health situation. So coming up, in no particular order, I'm opening for Will Clark June 8th at Vinyl. I'm super excited about. June 22nd, is the day after we get married. We're throwing an all-night rave.
Nice.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
I love that.
Which I'm so excited for. So I'm playing an extended set for that. July 26th, I'm curating and headlining the night at Beacon, which I'm super stoked about.
Oh, yeah.
June 1st is an incredible techno show in Boulder. May 11th is going to be epic. Denver Techno's Speakeasy Sessions. So it's one house room, one techno room, 100 capacity. That's it. 100 people. It always sells out. Goes all night. So I just I feel so juiced up. Like May 4th next weekend, Bad Astronauts, epic Burning Man camp.
Okay, I know Bad Astronauts.
They're amazing. Yeah. They're doing an event at Show Pony.
Okay, I also love Show Pony.
Love Show Pony.
It's It's the upstairs of that weird.
It's the downstairs of
Oh.
Crazy Horse on Colfax.
Okay. We used to be Club Lexi.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like every single one, I'm just like, oh, this is gonna be so fun.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Whoa.
The Bad Astronauts. We need to hang out with them. It's a gay Burning Man camp too.
They're
didn't know that.
yeah,
they're
and,
amazing.
I saw their camp at Burning Man, and I know one of the guys in it, and they always throw these events, and they're always so cool, and I've heard so much about them, but I don't.
I love
actually,
them.
I haven't been to any of their events.
I was
so-
gonna say I
like-
follow them on Instagram. I
Yeah,
think for some
yeah.
reason, I think I just like found them.
They're awesome.
Because someone posted something really cool, and I was like, the Bad Astronauts.
the Bad Astronauts.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
But I never saw their camp at the Burn.
we just haven't met.
Yeah.
We just
Okay.
like we're
have
friends.
them
We're
on.
like super cool, but like we just like haven't met.
They're
Yeah.
so awesome. They're
Yeah.
such a good crew.
And I love that you're having an all night rave for your wedding, because I always thought, like, if I got married, and I know a marriage isn't always about you getting
Right,
married, it's about for the people in the
right,
community, whatever. I'm just saying that I have been thinking about like in ways that I would have a party for, maybe not the reception, but maybe the day after, where it's like I want everyone to be 110%, and like this is like gonna be intense.
Oh yeah. Yes.
We recently, and I forget which of our friends were telling us that they handed out little like Molly capsules at their reception.
Stop.
Yeah. And like they said, like their parents, their grandparents, everyone, but think of this. Sorry, guys. I guess we've talked a little bit about drugs on this, but
Yeah.
they said it was the most beautiful, coolest, and these weren't like big burners or
Right,
anything
like
that. Like
not-
they have like serious jobs. I can't remember which one, but they were like, so basically both sides of our family now are like so family and so close, and they've been going on
Totally.
vacations together and trips. They were like, there was so much love.
I love that.
And I was like, wait, like, I don't know
Oh
if I could
my
ever do
God.
something like that.
I'm obsessed.
I don't know if I would do that. However, I love the idea.
I know. That's where I'm at.
Yeah,
That's where I'm
yeah.
at.
My aunt is having a panic attack in the bathroom.
Yeah.
She's freaking out.
Everyone's
Yeah.
so thirsty.
Yeah.
We're
Oh
out
my-
of water bottles.
Yeah.
Like, does anyone have more gum?
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Man.
No, we're so excited. And
Yeah.
I've had people ask me like, oh, so you're splitting it like wedding and then reception the next day. I'm like, no. Wedding, full dance party, reception, and in addition,
Yeah.
a full rave.
Yes.
See, I'm going to need to do something like that.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it's like reception happens, and then there's going to be a black van. Get in the van. You're going to change into these burlap robes.
Yes.
And then we're going to hit
Yes,
it.
yes.
Yeah. Where are you guys getting married?
We're getting married at Balustrade Vineyards, which is not vineyards, it's a winery.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're in North Denver, like
Oh.
probably 10, 15 minutes north of downtown. They are just over the county line though, so tax is 4% instead of Denver's 8%.
Oh.
Hot tip.
Yeah.
We're getting married there. Also, it's gonna be so dope. We're having a red carpet as our guests arrive, like an
I love
actual
that.
red carpet.
Love that.
I love
Like-
that. That's
Mhm.
so you guys.
I know.
Oh my gosh, that's perfect.
Like we're having so much fun.
Mhm.
Yeah. Wait,
Yeah.
I've never even thought of that.
Mhm.
Mhm.
That's so cool.
It's so fun. We have full red carpet, and then we have 2 photographers. One that's like a wedding event photographer, of course. Then the second one, because at the end of the red carpet, we're gonna have a full like step repeat background. And we
Mhm.
booked like a fashion photographer to take portraits there of all of our
Mm.
guests. Like, so we're just having so much fun.
Good.
So
That's
cool.
exciting.
That's
yeah.
how it should be.
Totally.
Like throw out all like what you need to do and just like
Mm-hmm.
make it you guys.
Totally.
Yeah.
And we booked Scotty Drippin, who's another incredible DJ in town. He's to play our wedding. So just like full 3-hour house set.
Yeah.
Like, hey mom.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Cha-cha slide. No.
No.
Yeah. Mhm.
No chicken
I
dance.
could do the cha-cha slide, but like
What?
not the
No.
electric slide. You
None of that shit.
know?
I
know.
can't.
Well, I feel like these receptions should be a little bit more of a party, and no one really
Totally.
fucking cares about the cha-cha slide. You
I
know?
can't do it.
Yeah.
I won't do it.
Yeah.
You're like, actually,
I do
no.
not
Mhm.
consent.
Yeah.
I really just want to ask about Berghain.
Oh my God.
That is on my notes. I told Nick, I was like, that's really like the last like thing like I need to know from Meg. Tell the people what it is, and I can't believe you
Oh my
went. It's been
God.
like a dream of ours.
You have to go.
I
You
will.
too.
I
You,
will.
I mean, you.
I've never been to Germany, but
that
yeah.
shocks me for some reason.
Yeah.
I actually haven't been to like Europe.
I've done way more Europe because he's done most of like Asia because we like
Yeah.
just recently became friends. People
Uh-huh.
don't know that.
I
They think we've
yeah.
been besties our whole life.
I
I'm
know.
like, no.
I've been to Italy, Sweden, and England.
That's Europe.
Yeah, I know, but like just like that. I mean, I haven't been to like France, Germany,
I understand.
Belgium. Like,
So you guys have to go.
Okay,
Keep it on the bucket list. So Berghain, huge club in Berlin. And like legendary as clubs go. Like is in an old power plant. Like established in the 80s, 90s. Like as the wall came down, underground movement, whatever. So the bouncer, the main bouncer, his name's Sven Marquardt. He has been the main bouncer there since it opened.
yeah.
And he like is a legend in his own right. He had a cameo in John Wick 4. Like literally he's like the bouncer in that movie.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Anyway, so incredible techno club and like was birthed out of the like fetish scene in Germany. So it has a huge like queer background. Only like hard industrial techno. Like hard industrial
See, I'm
techno.
not that cool. I'll go and I'll dance my ass off, but like when I talk about like, oh, I like techno, it's like I just wish I was that cool.
So we didn't think, literally before I went to Berghain, I was like, I feel like I need to go just for the sake of it, but I don't like techno. Now I do.
Okay, gotcha.
So that was the turning point. But we were in Berlin. We had a friend, our Bosco in Berlin, and Bosco had been to Berghain like 30 times. So he was like, all right, here's let me maximize your chances of getting in.
What about Berghain? It's like one of the hardest doors at any
To
club
get
in the
into.
entire world.
Yes.
Like dress code, vibe. Like
because like 60 to 80% of people don't get in.
Mhm.
And you can't buy tickets. There's no VIP. There's no bottle service, like nothing. You
Mhm.
show up, wait in line, and then Sven either ushers you in or shakes his head. And that's it. Like there's no the door code is completely Sven's judgment.
Yeah.
And his word's law. Like that's it.
Mhm.
So you just got to
Mhm.
roll the dice. So we show up and it's open from Friday through Monday.
Okay, shit.
So you can just like there's a smoothie bar inside. You can like bring in sandwiches and leave them at the coat check. Like
Yeah, because people like
not
will
for the
stay
faint
there
of heart.
for
You can
days.
Do
stay
you
there.
have to wear all black?
You don't have to.
Okay.
But like I think there's I don't know. I'm not Sven Marquardt. Who the fuck knows how he like makes
Right.
the call in 20 seconds. There were a ton of people in black, but also we were inside and there was a girl in like a little white dress and there was a girl in like blue tulle. Like,
Okay.
so not to be stereotypical, but truly I think it's all about who feels like are actually going to enjoy the experience and not like there to gawk. Because a
Mhm.
lot of people we saw getting turned away, I was like,
Yeah.
you look pretty normy.
Yeah.
Like, you look like you're going to be pretty overwhelmed pretty
Mhm.
fast. So we got in line at 10 p.m. Club opened this Friday night. Club opened at midnight. We found out afterwards that the club had reopened from COVID the weekend prior,
Oh.
which explains why we were in line for 7 hours.
I know, that's what I read.
You were in line for 7 hours.
Seven-
For 10
hours.
p.m., we got in the club at 5 a.m. Literally around hour 4, I turned to Kevin and I'm like, it was me, Kevin, and our friend Vasco. I was like, at what point are we going to call this? Like, I was
Yeah.
having a little bit of a moment of like, when do we, is this going to, credit to Kevin. He was like, we're getting in that club.
That's how I
Like,
would be.
It's commitment.
I was
I
like-
mean,
Okay. Got in at 5, spent 15 hours in the club.
that's so crazy.
It's really big too.
Oh, it's huge. There's like
Yeah.
3 floors. And like, again, there's like, and then there's like side dark rooms, like with no light that you can
Yeah.
just go hook up in. And there's a smoothie bar upstairs. Like there's like the outdoor balcony to get some natural light.
Did
Like
you get a smoothie?
I sure did.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And they sell like bananas and ice cream, I think.
Ice cream is such a good bender food.
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
You got your fats, your sugars. your-
uh-huh. And it's easy to eat too. It can kind of
Mm-hmm.
cool you down. I understand like it can be cold, so you're kind of scared of it. But like, especially if you're coming down
Oh
from
my
like
God.
a crazy bender, ice cream.
And it was wild because, like during any like amazing concert night,
Yeah.
and especially if you're on a little bit of Molly, you're like, wow. The next day you're like, wow, I lived like multiple lifetimes. There were all the side quests and like
Mhm.
this chapter of the night was totally different than this chapter of the
Yeah.
night,
Yeah.
15 hours of that. Like,
That is so insane to me, but I get it.
After
like, I want
7
that
hours
experience.
waiting in line
Yeah.
in hardcore techno.
right.
Only.
So it's like the only.
Yeah.
It's just like boom, 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 boom for 15 hours straight.
Changes you.
It changes.
Now
it
you're a
changes
techno
you. Now I'm a
DJ.
techno DJ.
That's so wild.
She left
Yeah, I'm
God
like
behind.
most cliche bitch of all time.
Yeah.
Goes to Berghain. I play
Yeah.
techno now.
Uh-huh.
But it was incredible. It was incredible. We had like there's
Cool.
a whole like different chapters. We met so many friends.
Yeah.
Then we like came down, regrouped, had a little snack, went in for round 5.
Man.
Then we left, got a vegan dinner, got 4 hours of sleep and boarded our flight.
See, that's so Berlin. You know?
I was like,
love
I
that.
feel so cool.
Yeah. I really, really do want to go to Berlin and experience these techno clubs. I actually was really good friends with a girl who I met in Nepal. She was from Berlin, born and raised, and just like she was so
Amazing.
Berlin. It was so cool. And she wasn't even too like weird about it. You know, it wasn't trying too hard, but
Right.
it just oozed off of her. And she was like, oh, like I go to these clubs and I used to do a lot of drugs. And when I was younger, she was like 22 when I met her, but she's like, when I was younger, I used to do a lot of drugs, but now like there's my favorite club. You just sit on bean bags and like you don't really talk to anyone.
Oh
And
my
it's sober. You
God.
just sit down and listen to techno, and I'll do that for like 7 hours, and I'm just like,
Who are you? I
like,
love
wait,
it.
I know, and she was just so cool like that.
I'm
And I was
obsessed.
just like, I feel like I want to do this, you know.
I'm also particularly lucky because Kevin is fluent in German. He's
Oh.
German.
Did not know
Their
that.
dad is German. Their dad grew up in Bavaria, east side of the wall.
Oh,
Like escaped from a day pass and never went back. Level.
Wow.
the more I learn about him,
I know.
Yeah.
Also has lived so many lives.
Yeah.
So he's fluent.
Cool.
So it's even
Yeah.
that much. You know, again, we're like after 24 hours in country, it's just like
Yeah.
great.
That's cool.
So highly recommend.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we have a friend that's fluent in German. Farah.
Fair. Oh yeah,
We'll have him take us.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
You've got to go.
I wonder if he's ever been.
this tall, gorgeous black gay man. So we'll get him.
Mhm. Yeah.
Amazing.
From Germany.
Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing.
Cool. That's amazing. I really, really am so jealous of that. But-
Yeah, it was some pretty, and it's like literally anything goes. So like my shirt came off an hour in and didn't go back on,
Yeah.
and like so
I've heard that there's a pisser.
Yep.
That there's a man that is there and he'll just go and piss on people if you want to be pissed on. And
that's probably true.
he's like a known mythological character, like a.
Well, there's also definitely folks there whose kink is drinking piss. So we'll
Yeah.
like be by the urinal and
Mm.
I
Yeah.
drink as you go.
Yeah.
So, which again, it's what's really cool is it's almost like afterwards that we were at dinner, I was like, it almost felt like a community center, like a rec center. Like in terms of just how like supportive and open and like chill it all felt. It was like, oh, of course, of course.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
of course.
That's so good. But okay, it kind of makes sense because it's open forever that you don't really have to like rage and get in there and like go like right now, like
Totally.
Mario, the owner of Beacon, on his podcast, he was talking about how Denver
2 a.m.,
closes
4
at 2.
a.m. I
right?
watched this. I'm so
Okay.
on board. Oh my God.
Good. I'm glad you watched that. And he was saying that like, people get into nightlife and they go out at 10 p.m. and then it's like, okay, they have 4 hours and it's like, let's fucking go, shots. And everyone like, dies. like-
and then people die.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
really.
But really.
Yeah.
Whereas like the community center vibe.
Like you're just hanging
Yeah,
out. You want to go
uh-huh.
dance? Great. You want to snack? Great.
Yeah.
You want to go over here and sit down and make some friends? Great.
You're not going to miss anything.
You've got 3 days.
Yeah, man.
Burning Man felt a little bit like that, not to
Totally.
feel like now, but you just didn't. You get rid of FOMO because
Yeah.
it's impossible to see everything.
Mhm.
And then I never felt weird just sitting down and like doing nothing,
Totally.
or sitting and talking to someone or
Right.
sleeping, like because sometimes you have to.
You have to. You
Like-
have to.
Do people sleep at Berghain? Can you sleep?
I didn't see anyone sleeping. We saw a couple people. We were like, are they okay?
Yeah.
Which actually, the 2 times that happened, we had made friends with them waiting in line. So whenever we're like, hey, you need a little,
You good?
you all right?
Yeah.
One
They're
time I
fine.
was at a Zodiac afters and all
Mm.
my friends still wanted to party, but it was like 4 a.m. and I was like done. And it was when my hair was longer. I can sleep anywhere as long as it's dark. So I put myself in one of the
Oh my
chairs in a
God,
corner
stop.
and I tied a hair mask, like my own hair, into like a bow in front of my eyeballs. So it was dark. And I fell asleep in the corner till they were ready to go.
That
I
is
was-
next level.
I was on nothing, but being able to sleep anywhere is my skill, and I can sleep sitting up. So like I just tied my hair and like until they were done partying. It was fine. Just wake me up.
I love that.
I'll be here.
I'll be there.
Amazing. No pressure. No, truly no rush.
Yeah. I'm gonna go astral project real quick. Like,
I actually have to bartend in afters tonight. I start work at midnight tonight.
What's so funny about being a DJ too is like if I'm out and I'm DJing and partying, I could literally go all night. I'm like, it must be 4 at least and not 2. But if I'm not out or if I'm not dancing or playing, I'm like in bed by 9.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like
I get that from you.
it's one
Yeah.
or the other.
Yeah.
Unless I'm reading Fantasy Smut. And then I'll stay until midnight.
Yeah.
I've been hearing about this on
Obviously.
TikTok.
yeah.
Someone needs to send me something. They're like, yeah, like fairy smut. And I was like, I didn't know this was a thing, but like maybe I'd be into it. Fairy into vampires. So
Fairy vampires. Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Little embarrassed about it, but also like
Don't be
not.
embarrassed about it. No way.
My brain works so hard so many other times. I just need to let it take a vacation.
yeah.
Mhm.
You know?
And
I get that.
that's actually a problem I have is I always read nonfiction books when I feel like I should be like read just something like for funsies, like to turn your brain off. Yeah, you don't need to be
Totally.
like learning energy work
Totally.
when
Like
you're trying to go to bed.
I read so much nonfiction. I love documentaries and shit, but also I like books and movies like is for vacation time
Mm-hmm.
for my
Yeah.
brain.
I'm rewatching The Vampire Diaries right now.
Stop.
I've seen it like 18 times, like the
You
whole
have.
series.
I feel like
I-
you're just perpetually watching it.
yeah, I just
Yeah,
started
yeah.
over.
Mhm.
It's like my comfort show.
I need to finish. I watched the first like half of the series.
Okay.
Like
It doesn't get better.
Okay.
The
all
first
right,
half is the
got it.
best, really.
That's
Then
why I
you can
stopped.
move on
I
to
was
the
like,
originals,
Yeah.
but
all
there's, like,
right.
a spinoff. Yeah, I think.
Goodbye FOMO. For a second, I was like, oh shit.
Shit. I've seen like quite a few episodes of it, but I've never watched them. But I feel like I get it just because
I feel
you're
like I
always
get
watching
it. Yeah.
you
But
know what I mean?
also, I like could not. I just got to the point where I was like, Stefan is on my last nerve. I can't stand this character.
Yeah,
So I stopped.
he's a little shit disturber, troublemaker for sure.
I saw him once in Topanga in California.
In real life?
Yeah. We were at a taco shop in Topanga.
And
Of
okay,
course.
I
And so-
know that this is Francesca's like man crush or like love fantasy.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And we're in Topanga, and then we like separate. She goes to like go find like a table for us to sit at, and it's like outside. And I'm in line, and I see him walking up there. And I'm
It's like,
like,
where's
all right,
Francesca?
Francesca's gonna shit. Like, this is crazy. And I'm just like, what? And I'm like, that's fucking him. Okay. And then I get the tacos. And I'm like, go in and find her. And I was like, Francesca. And she's like, no, I saw.
I saw. I'm sweating. My heart rate is elevated. I saw.
I'm like, we made eye contact.
You
That
made eye
was-
contact.
Yeah, but I wasn't gonna like say anything.
Yeah.
No, I
Mhm.
wouldn't. He's just trying to live his life as a taco shop.
Yeah.
Fine.
Side of the road.
I know,
Topanga
right?
Canyon.
Let him have his carne asada in
I
peace.
know.
And he was married.
Oh.
Since divorced.
Oh.
I know.
So.
Bummer. I know.
Yeah.
They're probably really on the rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything you
I think we
want
did
to
it.
plug and talk about? And
No, you guys nailed it.
okay, cool.
Okay, perfect. We'll put all your shows whenever it comes
Oh my
out.
God.
And
Yeah.
We
the
love.
description and everything.
We love.
Yay. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for being here.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
the most fun.
Good. Thank you.
Gotta
We'll
do
have
it
you for
again.
Installment 2.
Sooner than 2 years
after.
this time.
I know.
right?
Hopefully.
Although if it's in 2 years, the amount of transformations you go through, you'd be like,
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
this is what's
Let's
been
go.
happening.
I did the gray hair thing. Just fully
Yeah.
gray.
Just turn.
Just fully
Yeah.
white.
Yeah.
And your hair grew that fast, that short. So I would
I could
believe
see it. All right.
I
love
Well,
it.
bye, guys. Thanks for listening.
Love you guys. Cheers.
Bye.